Stay on this side of the road.
Come on!
Portland, dude. Portland, man.
Is Luis over there?
It most likely is. Probably.
Louise! Where you at, you rat?
So you want to go over there and just call it Luis and just like.
I think we're about as close as we need to get. We've challenged it.
Put it away, dude.
That's Luis right there.
Why you got the? But don't. I don't care. Ain't shit's gonna happen.
Luis is there.
Ain't shit gonna happen. Put your weapons away, dude. Put the weapons away. It just promotes aggression.
I think we're there, Mr. Kalbaugh. Right on the number, thank you. So Mr. Schmantzes is suggesting that if he were the state, this is where he would want to start the video.
I thought he was asking that's where he personally wanted to start for defense. He's got some witnesses that are, I believe, in this video that he has put on his list. Is that correct?
The gentleman right there is going to be testifying. I would probably start the video here. Again, we're not going to play the same video 30 times.
I see. You would yourself start the video at 442.
Yeah, and I'm objecting to the introduction of anything prior.
Anything prior to 442, but you would not object to the state, as you say, playing it once, playing from 442 on.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Does the state have any desire to start it before 442?
For State's Exhibit 2, no.
Okay. Mr. Lee.
So there's about a 6-minute window.
Yep.
And I believe Spencer Schultz wants that 6 minutes. I don't want to step on their toes. So if they think that's necessary for their case, we would probably withdraw 6 minutes of our motion.
And object up to 442.
But I'd like to watch that 6 minutes,
sure,
just so we can make
sure. Would it be most efficient just to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to start it from the beginning.
Okay.
I think that from
let's get to the next point, and then I'll hear from everybody about where they think it's most appropriate. No,
Unpause.
Would you please?
Did mute.
I don't know. Suddenly there's no volume. I'm not sure what happened there. Is it on me? Mine's all the way up. Oh, there we go.
How's it going?
Is there something you hope to accomplish?
Well, watch yourself.
Hey, this is private property. You're not allowed to film here.
This is actually public property, the sidewalk right here, but thank you.
No, it's not.
Okay, well, go get your deed or whatever. I'm not here to cause any problems, so don't try any problems.
Yeah, none of us are here for violence.
The violent fuckers are afraid and they're back there. I'm just fucking checking shit out.
Yeah, me too. We keep it non-violent. We keep it positive. You know Joey Gibson? He keeps it non-violent. He keeps it positive. We're just here checking it out. No.
He's on his lines on a sidewalk. This is a public sidewalk.
Yeah, it's a public sidewalk. Why are you here?
Cool.
Not the time to ask for interviews. Oh, sorry, Bob. Oh, sorry. Sorry. What the?
So yeah, I don't know what's going on what's with all the cameras and stuff.
What's with all the masks and stuff?
Oh, fat boy, not
It's a masquerade. We're just indie journalists. There was like a confrontation that was brewing, but let's look at the other parties coming after it. So.
Oh, are they
I believe it's some Patriot Prayer members and some Proud Boy people. I don't know.
oh, are they like coming over here? Is it gonna be like a brawl?
I just film. I do Stumptown Matters on my YouTube channel and stuff, and I just kind of film all different political events on both sides.
Okay.
So I don't ever get involved in the rhetoric and the violence and that kind of stuff. But they're very both sides don't like each other, obviously, and there's fear reactioning on both sides. I can see it. I can see these guys are like, oh shit, they're coming, and then they're like, oh shit, they're over there.
Yeah.
And it's just, and so it's not. I don't have any beef with either or whatever. So I'm a Portlander. I live here, and this is what I do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Same.
But yeah, it was funny. Like I saw him pulling out like an asp over there. Like, oh, there's too much. It's stupid. It's a lot of this fear in people's heads, fucking perpetuating conflict and shit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I have nothing against these people. I've had all the events that I've covered. Like Antifa has given me all sorts of shit, you know, and associated me with that and pigeonhole me and stuff like that.
Oh,
Whatever.
Yeah.
They haven't laid a finger on me yet, but that's I won't be violent unless it's justified and have to leave or something.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of people are, they don't want that side over here, and I really don't know why they're even kind of. I know that I just found out today that this is actually like an Antifa bar, considered an Antifa bar, and stuff. So I don't even know why they would want to come here to instigate. But I was filming it just I want to film it just to see the reaction, but it doesn't apparently anything happen. So this guy's Andy Ngo. He has a YouTube channel and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll check that out.
Hey, puppy. He's like blind, little guy.
She must be so proud. So fucking proud.
I only like you doing three when it's not.
Like I was saying.
Well, it is. It's passive aggression.
Huh? Thank you. Not my place.
Break his camera.
Yeah. Involuntary celibate.
Feels good. Fascist involuntary.
Oh no, I'm not a fascist. Come on. Oh shit.
Hey! Hey, Star. Long time no see.
Yeah.
How you been?
Different without your face in there.
Yeah. Scared of me myself.
10:01, I believe this was the original, close to the spot of the original request that the state was conceding we could start here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your Honor, if we could have a brief opportunity for defense
That's fine.
attorneys.
Why don't we take 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Come back at 10:20.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll
thank
go
you,
off
Your
the
Honor.
record.
Okay, we'll go off like we did. unmuted on my end.
Thanks to the clerk. We're back on the record. We're outside the presence of the jury. All counsel and parties are present. Does anyone wish to be heard?
I'll give the court an update on the defense is now uniformly in agreement with the motion as written for the first 10 minutes, and the state is conceding the motion as to the exclusion of the first 10 minutes of the video in discovery labeled Milltown Stunt Matters and previously disclosed as exhibit number 2 for the state.
Does everyone agree?
I do, Your Honor.
Yes.
I agree.
Thank you. What, just so that we don't ever have to revisit this particular issue again, what is the timestamp of the native video where the state intends to begin?
10 minutes.
At the 10-minute mark?
At the 10-minute mark, according to the VLC player.
Okay,
Correct.
very well.
With
So understood, motion 32 is granted as agreed to.
And when this is offered as an exhibit, I assume it's not going to have the earlier video on it, which the jury could say, well.
no, it's not going to be a part of it.
No,
It's
we'll-
just gonna
we'll
be-
trim the
We're going
file.
to trim the file down until it starts at the 10-minute mark.
10 minutes, 0 seconds will be
Correct.
0 minutes,
Yes.
0 seconds.
Thank you.
Correct.
And with that order, does anyone want to pre-admit that State's Exhibit 2? And with that trimming, of course.
We may let us,
Okay.
let's talk about that after we wrap up, but I probably.
Okay.
Probably.
Sure. It will certainly save some time if we can do that. Okay, so much for motion 32. The next deferred motion is motion 38. I don't think that was a video or exhibit deferral. I think that was a
Yeah, the next 3 are 104 hearings.
104 hearings. Okay. You know what? Rather than lead from behind, let me just ask the question. Are there other evidentiary issues that we need to resolve that involve video?
I think there are. I think Exhibit 6 touches on video, and that was I'm sorry, not Exhibit 6. Motion 6.
Motion 6
touched on video. That was deferred.
Okay.
For this
Yep.
purpose.
That's right.
And that's exhibit.
This exhibit 4, is this ever gonna go anywhere?
You mean play?
Yeah, for the jury?
Well, that's the state's.
We're going to offer it. Yeah. So that's what I think we need to talk about.
Is that what we're turning to now?
This, Your Honor, if you recall, was a motion to exclude hearsay and recordings.
Right.
And from the state's view, the video is important. It captures Defendant Lewis on the way to Cider Riot. But in our view, the audio and some of the out-of-court statements are also important in the way that it.
And by important, you mean admissible?
Important and subjective. Admissible is objective. We think admissible because their statements made in a group with Mr. Lewis and would shape what he is aware of or should be aware of and consciously disregards in our view, of course.
Okay. I will note that that this is, of course, just Mr. Gibson's motion. I assume for purposes of this video, and if my recollection is faulty, I assume Mr. Lewis is joining in objecting to the introduction of statements from this video.
I'm objecting to the entire video.
Audio and visual.
Audio and visual, and from the time that it starts, where it has a veil of authority where it says Allen. Well, I think they've already passed it. When you go back, it says.
I'm at 000. I can't go
Okay.
back.
Okay, let's watch it, and then I'm now that I understand that Mr. Lewis is opposing the introduction of this video in its entirety, both in video and in audio form. Now I know what the frame is. And Mr. Hughey, does this? How long is the video? Does the state want all of it? Does the state want all of the video and all of the audio?
I think we would offer all of it. It's 18 minutes long.
Okay.
And just to help orient the court, Mr. Lewis is going to be here with a flag attached to a backpack, aviator sunglasses, pretty easy to see.
And Judge, just to help with this one, there is a period of time in the middle of the video that we're not as interested in, but because it's in the middle, we are interested in the beginning, we are interested in the bulk of the end of it. So that's why we would want the whole thing, so it doesn't look like there's something missing.
Okay. How big is the Watergate style?
Several minutes, but I think when we get there, it'll be obvious.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead.
There is audio. I'm not sure why it's not playing. I was asking Miss Lou this earlier.
I have all of your audio left inside, not
It was playing a second ago. I'll try to.
And I don't know, before one, when it started the first time, it said Allen News, and I didn't even see that on the screen this time, but I'm objecting to that for sure.
To the overlay. Okay. And we're not gonna.
Yeah, you're not. Just want to get off the road so we don't all sit fucking standing out there. Yeah. You can talk to the son of the bike. Is he cool? Think they're lurking around.
The kid? Yeah. Steve was talking to him when we were at the tennis center. And he's a local photographer that just happened to stumble upon us. He went to the same high school that one kid got to that we were talking to earlier.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Sometimes they like, people follow us and give our location.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's smart, I guess. But no. He's just some random kid we ran into.
Fellas randomly riding my bike, and I saw some.
Oh yeah, I'd stop too, man.
Yeah.
Get my phone out, be like, woo. All the shits. Oh, he's waving us over, guys. He's waving us.
Move it out.
Move out.
Good. Say the Autobots line.
Autobots line?
Transform and roll out. Autobots, transform and roll out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's fun. I would think that.
Right? It's theatrics.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that being in a movie.
I mean,
being in a movie. I had time to go over to scope it.
How far out are they now?
Huh? Are we sending scouts out to find Joey? No. No, we're scattering out. Oh my god. Yeah.
We are on our way.
Oh yeah.
I think he's just turning.
Huh? Yeah, you're right. Tell him we're at 10th and fucking Davis. Yeah. Earlier. I don't know.
Okay, so where's?
You can walk in and we can go ahead and we'll do the second wave. Yeah. Second wave.
Oh. Joey said that he'd be the second wave?
No.
Or
Second wave?
Oh, that's, so just for that, Joey is the second wave, they said, for him?
Is that what I don't know.
Well, who was texting Joey?
So up in the air.
Yeah. Well, I want to say sunglasses with the beard.
I'm just hanging out here still just because.
Yeah. For the lulz, man.
Yeah. Feeling good. It's just losing my patience.
Yeah. Well, at least there's no more direct sunlight, so my pasty ass is feeling much more comfortable in this shit.
Yeah. They're tracking us right now on the bike.
Oh, that's the kid that like he kind of just ran into us. He was at that school.
Sure, he
like,
ran into us, all right.
Well, like a different person I was talking to was like just went because there's a high school right there or whatever. That we walked by it. So of course there's gonna be teenagers there.
He keeps asking questions and making phone calls.
Yeah, he said he was a photographer. He talked to Steve. They had a conversation. I mean, I think he's 16. He's just, skinny.
Scout.
Huh?
How would you know what age he is?
Observation.
Oh, okay.
The same way that I can tell that he is not a
How old am I?
minor. I would say plus or minus 5. Yes, 46. How close am I? Am I? Like, guess how old I am. So was I right? Are you 46? Or maybe I guess.
Just gonna go by himself? Okay.
So there is currently a single member going over there. Oopsie. Shit. That's super far away. Yeah. How far away is it supposed to be? I don't see anything. Just a block away.
That next round building right there. As soon as you go down, it takes up like a whole. Well, it doesn't take up a whole block, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I think. Would across the street or around the corner be a better shooting angle to get this?
Across the street.
Across the street. Okay, I'm gonna do things.
Actually, I'd stay on the side. I'd stay on our side. The second they see Steve, man, we're burned. So.
Yeah.
Where's Steve at? Tell Joey and them to fucking hurry the fuck up. I hope they got like 10 big dudes with them. That'd be nice to have.
Is she? Okay.
Alright. Keep turn the corner.
By the way, the headquarters of the Oregon Democratic Center right around the corner right here.
Wait. Like for the party? What's a Democratic Center? Gotcha. Okay. Huh. Yes. What's that?
We're just checking which way the wind was blowing so we don't spray ourselves.
Yeah, that would suck.
It's blowing out of the northwest, I think.
I think it's whatever. It's blowing that way. So, yeah.
I kind of wanted my 30 off.
Okay. That happened to me last year. It's like it's cool, but it's not fun. I mean, yeah. I got pepper spray on the whatever one got called a fucking riot. And I got pushed. Yeah, dude, I got hit. I got hit by the fucking trash can, man.
Oh really?
I was like
through a trash can.
Well, I was walking like this, like filming, like I was the front of the procession with Gibson and company, getting a good shot, and then I hear this like, and I turn around and some chick took one of those big like thick trash cans and just.
Oh yeah. One of our guys threw it back at her.
Yeah. He was right next to me. I was the person that got hit.
Hey, really?
Yeah. Dude, I had a bruise. I turned my knee, thankfully. Oh yeah, if you look at Mike Bivens' video, he has video of the guy throwing it back, and I'm like skimpering around because there was a fucking riot.
Yeah, that was after the first freaking brawl.
Yeah, man.
That was like the second.
So I'm just getting all antsy now. Yeah, a little bit. I left my jacket in my car because, like,
It's so freaking warm out today.
Yeah, but it's like 6 o'clock or something. Yeah. So yeah, just prepped for war. Fucking hell.
So things might be warming up here soon.
I don't know if we have time for that, new friends.
20 questions. Do we go in or do we not go in? I don't know. There's 100 of them there? I'll take the first 3.
Let's go get a beer and say fuck it.
Huh?
Okay.
I know a lot about fighting.
How many are there?
If we waltz up in there,
They're all sitting there drinking and waiting. How many are there?
They know we're coming because you put it on Facebook.
Oh, they
okay. So we stroll by there
No, but they saw me and they know I'm telling, so.
Let's just walk by there.
No,
Thing is, he's saying there's like a 50 or 100 guys on the parking lot.
It's not.
I don't think we're gonna be able to get
There's a bunch of people with no job. We don't care about going there.
the block. I'm down for that.
You think they'll rush
I used to do
I
these
don't think
people.
they're
I know how
rushes,
they
but
fucking
it's
act.
just, I don't know, like, the feeling is, there's some tension there, so.
You saw them?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're there. They're there. And I didn't recognize a lot of them, but they're, you see the tattoos, you see the shirts.
Sharps?
They're definitely not
You're a
sharks.
featherweight. You're gonna fight in heavyweight,
They're
or are you
definitely
gonna
not
wait to be a
sharks.
heavyweight?
But they could just see us and just ignore us, but they were definitely.
What if we just cross the street?
They're gonna come. They're gonna circle up, and they're gonna clamp us.
If they come across
And the cops are gonna
street,
do
then-
shit because the cops are fucking on their side.
And not here.
But I mean, I say.
Like there's no cops around.
We want to.
Yeah, the cops.
As long as
We're
we're across
justified.
the street, as long as we're
They're gonna
across the street,
arrest
I don't
us.
know, but
For
if we're
fighting?
going right
We
next to
march
What
them,
they do to the Proud Boys
Oh,
around
yeah.
the country?
That's right.
So that's what I'm saying.
March
If we're gonna do it across the street, not on the same street,
Don't
be
even
on
do
the
it.
side of it. Yeah, I'm not. For one, I'm not down to do it anyway. But
It's called a pre-fight indicator.
Yeah. I mean, how long till like Gibson gets here? And we have like some more fucking numbers.
that's not his numbers. His numbers are not gonna both.
What, he shows up with his fucking choir?
We need.
We need what?
We need.
I mean,
Who's
I
the
don't
guy
know.
with the weapons here? It's me.
Oh, that is some rad shit, man. Is that like a old military like respirator?
No, that's something I use every day.
I'm gonna do some
No,
drywall.
not like old. I mean, like just like style. Like those kinds of cartridges. I think I had those in the Navy.
I think it's modeled.
It's just modeled like
Yeah,
that.
I just cross the street, stay across the street, just walk
We've
away,
been
walk
pepper
away.
sprayed
There's no need
before,
to-
and it ain't
Oh.
fun.
Yeah.
What can you do?
You're
Yeah.
successful.
I know
Everybody got
it's
guys
Jason
together.
gave it.
What
I
if
like
we-
fun. Gave me up.
Maalox, man. Maalox.
That's what I got in my bag. I got the lot. The half and half, yeah.
Do we want to?
I'm not being.
I get
No, I know
it.
you're
So
not.
FYI,
You can watch it on film.
he's the
Everybody
muscle.
can watch it on
I'm
film.
packing the bag. You see me, you know I've got the law on me. Yes, run to me. If you get sprayed, you get whatever. I got the water. No, I don't want to be swarmed. No, I got one car. Yeah, here's an apocalypse. Come on. But yes, FYI, come to me.
Absolutely, thank you. Because I got pepper sprayed on the June 30th thing.
You know what I heard?
And that sucked.
They actually say if you mix a little Dawn in what, like Dawn dish
Yeah.
soap, and you're like, oh yes, pour soap in my eyes, and you're like, no, literally, it will rinse it off.
Yeah.
You're already burning it in hell. Yeah.
Haley Joey's coming.
Yeah, I couldn't breathe. I'm literally, you're on fire.
Yeah.
Well, we can make a decision when they get.
Can you tell them that?
Wait, didn't you say you wanted to get pepper sprayed before we left?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. It's filled right now.
I mean, I think he means from like
No.
not a.
He wants to get sprayed. I will spray him.
I mean, hell, I'll do it too. I'll spray you twice.
Right, there you go.
Can I film it when I spray you?
Like a perfect size.
Oh, jeez, that's nice. Look at that.
It's a brick. Yeah. Yeah.
What's that?
So he's a black guy and all red. He ain't nobody.
Yeah, no. That's the whole like the whole point of having the all black is to blend in.
Yeah.
Want to just go?
Well, maybe we can just hang out here and see if a few of them want to get talk.
Man.
Oh, mouth we just been
I got some sharp ass teeth, man.
Oh, wait, your teeth are sharp? You gotta knock them out then.
Broken and.
Well, at first we had the full mask.
You gonna knock them out?
No,
We were trying
if
to
your
wear the
teeth
full
are
mask. I
sharp,
was like, oh my god.
the anti-racist group. Yeah. It's a joke. I mean, funny.
I like dry humor.
Oh yeah, no, I'm very deadpan. That's how I go. I just can't rock the helmets like everybody else can.
Yeah.
I'm just be Mr.
Kind of hot.
Huh? Oh yeah, no.
Oh yeah. They just want.
Like I've worn like plastic masks at like birthday parties and shit, and it gets sweaty so fucking fast. Like.
No matter what you do, no matter what social class you're from, you have to buy. Yeah. Period. Property tax
Yeah,
Doesn't
it's
matter.
a wealth tax.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You own that property.
They were walking over here.
Although, at least in Washington, there's a program for veterans, people that are disabled and/or 65 and older to pay 60% or 100% less on property taxes based upon your income. So it's a really great program. If you just, I don't know if there's one like that in Oregon, but if you have any friends,
guys, they're trolling us. We should let them.
Really, like lead them on a goose chase or something. But no, seriously, like
the lines. Yeah, they don't cut the line. There's definitely some froggy motherfuckers following us.
But for real though, there's programs for the elderly and stuff to not have to pay those taxes.
Okay, that's good.
And then like, no, property taxes are the worst.
Yeah, it's
the only tax you can't fucking avoid.
Where are we doing this?
I don't know what's going on.
Hey, David. David. What are you giving Joseph Spears over there?
Huh? You get to do a following a bit.
What's that? All right. Okay.
It's like they're a distance back, but they're following.
I see we.
Sorry.
Huh?
15:30.
Sorry, stop it and feel like a fight to eat or something.
Yeah, you're right. That would trim it down.
So there's plenty of places to get food around here. It's fucking important, right?
It's important. He's got someone for that got good beer and good food.
Absolutely. I mean, that looks like a fucking club or a bar or a strip club, actually. I see. I mean, it has a very strip club sounding name.
Right side. 10. I went over there. I took it off. No. Good luck.
There's going to be a fight. Like, you fight, you're outnumbered. Hey, I'm sorry. I will say
All right, you guys go ahead and be cool and go.
Your Honor, may I be heard?
Let me just check in with, I need to check in with the state briefly, which is, so Mr. Hughey, or Mr. Kalbaugh, the state's standing on its intent to admit, or to have admitted the entirety of that video.
I think we would trim 4 or 5 minutes off the beginning, just in the interest of shortening it. But we would want to introduce everything else.
Okay, all right. I'm happy to hear from any defendant in any order.
I'd be objecting to the introduction of any of the hearsay statements of the gentleman who's taking the video. They're not sworn. I don't think they should come in. They're definitely hearsay, and they're prejudicial because they suggest the group is going to fight. Now, my client's not there. He's not in the video. A number of those statements are going to be attributed to the group. I think we have not necessarily a confrontation issue, but just a straight up hearsay issue, and that's the basis of my objection.
Okay. As to all, just so I understand the scope of Mr. Schultz's objection, all statements by the person who's recording the video.
And some of the other statements that are responsive to, especially when he's saying, well, when does Mr. Gibson want us there? And when does Mr. Gibson want us to have anything talking about fighting? or there's going to be a brawl down there. Even Mr. Lewis's statements, I don't think could be admitted unless he's going to testify. I'm going to have a confrontation issue there, a Bruton issue.
Okay, thank you. Let me hear from each defendant, and then I'll hear from the state once.
Thank you, Your Honor. So to just back up a little bit, we had filed a motion number 4 to exclude the 2 primary bridge group videos that were at the bridge, and that was conceded. And then motion number 5 was to bar the state from playing portions of the bridge videos in which individuals in the video that are not being called as witnesses at trial make assertions of fact regarding what Joseph Gibson planned to do that day. That was not contested as well. And I don't think when we addressed number 5, we were all discussing this particular video, but I think that this video is clearly the bridge group, and this video
Just not on the bridge.
Just not on the bridge, but it is not a video of that group as they arrive, and that's the next video. And so we believe that this entire video is wholly irrelevant and has no admissible purpose against Mr. Gibson or Mr. Schultz. There's multiple prejudicial points that I could outline if the court wants me to. There's multiple statements of fact or assertions of fact that are clearly hearsay that I can outline if the court wants me to.
I saw the video. I saw the same video.
Yeah. And the issue becomes we have on multiple occasions moved to sever our case from anyone who is in the bridge group. That motion becomes stronger if this video comes in, less strong if it is excluded. We are asking for it to be excluded in its entirety because of the prejudicial impact and the hearsay. And if it is not, we will be renewing our motion to sever.
Thank you. Mr. Buchal, did you also want to be heard on the same point?
I would just add that if the video is admitted, it will add substantially to the trial time because there are so many pieces of assertions in there, and each one will need to be explained, and some of them are very quick, and so we will have to go through them. I mean, there's one, I give you the example of Gibson's going to show up, and then the other people show up with his effing choir to do what? And we will have to explain all that and draw attention to the members of the group who are distinguishing themselves from Gibson. You know, I'm the guy with the weapons here or whatever. You know, he's not Superman. Why wait for, we'll have to spend a lot of time on this, attempting to diffuse all of these statements. And it really, that's what I was going to say.
Thank you. Mr. Doyle.
The state cleansed the video a little bit just before they showed it, and I wanted them to show it from the very beginning where it says that this is some sort of a production, Allen production or whatever. Can you show it from the very, very beginning so that but I'm moving to exclude the whole thing.
Okay.
But even the really beginning, it says that this is a production, you know, and
okay. So the title sequence is objected to. Talk to me about the objections from Mr. Lewis's perspective to the rest of the
title sequence. I want in just to let it know that this is entirely prejudicial to Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis will testify that he just wanted to film from his body cam, and the body cam does not. The person who is doing the video does not video Mr. Lewis's body cam, and he looks a lot more menacing on the way.
Well, but that's not, I mean, Mr. Lewis is dressed how he's dressed.
Yes, and there's a body cam there, and the picture that they showed omits the body cam. You cannot see it from this video. This video is unduly prejudicial, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
From beginning, and cumulative too.
Okay, talk to me about cumulative, and then I have a couple of follow-ups.
It just shows a lot of the same stuff that the other videos show.
Okay.
And that there is it adds absolutely nothing to the riot.
tell me about, from Mr. Lewis's perspective, the statements from Mr. Lewis that are in this video, why those should not be admitted, and the statements of those around Mr. Lewis, why those should not be admitted.
Well, for one thing, it's hard to determine which statements are from Mr. Lewis. And I think the jury would be unduly prejudiced by just seeing even it with the sound totally turned off. And this is just unduly prejudicial and negative cumulative, and it's hard to determine what statements Mr. Lewis makes, and the jury may have trouble determining what statements Mr. Lewis is making.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toyle. Mr. Hughey, I have questions, but I'll let you. Sure. I'll let you present initially.
From the state's perspective, Your Honor, this video is highly probative. I think I would agree that it's most probative to defendant Lewis, in that, you know, the video obviously shows the way he's clothed. If you're paying attention between the 6 and 7 minute mark, you see him go from a baseball cap and no gloves to plastic knuckle gloves and a helmet. And it's kind of what I was describing yesterday about being aware of and consciously disregarding a risk for creating a grave risk of public alarm, because you've got a guy measuring the wind direction so we don't spray ourselves while Mr. Lewis is standing right there listening to all that. And other similar statements, right? That's just one. You know, you got that lady showing the brick that she's carrying. This guy's swinging a baton. I think a valid concern are the references to Mr. Gibson, and I think that's easily remedied. I agree that unknown declarants in the video saying, "Is Joey coming? When's Joey going to meet us?" That kind of thing. I think that should come out. I think we can easily just mute those. I don't know. I don't think I caught everyone, but I will over the weekend and mute every little statement about Mr. Gibson, because those concerns are valid and easily remedied. But it is. And the other way I characterized this video yesterday in arguing its relevance to the court is that it shows the whole sort of, you know, strategic, almost, I think I characterized it almost as like a reconnaissance mission, like, oh, how many of them are there, that kind of thing, right? This all goes to Mr. Lewis's mental state about the risk of causing public alarm that he's disregarding by.
But this is the part where I struggle with a couple of parts of the state's argument, and this is the part where I struggle, I think, most acutely. It is at best, from the state's perspective, evidence of things Mr. Lewis heard when he was minutes and blocks away from the site. But of course, he's not charged with committing any crime when he is minutes and blocks away from the site. He's charged with committing a crime when he is at the site. When he is at the site, Mr. Lewis is seeing and hearing the reality of what's going on at the site, and it's the risk, if any, presented at that place at that time that would represent the risk, if any, that the state would use to rely on for the recklessness prong, right? So at best, what the state is really arguing is, well, this earlier discussion, at a different time and a different place, informs Mr. Lewis's perspective as he is looking at what is going on when he gets to the location at the time that he is there, right?
I think that's largely fair. It also captures his own preparation, you know, for getting there.
Okay, so that.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about.
We're talking statements at this
suiting
point.
up. Here I'm talking about the statement.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll get to the other part in a minute. So the probative value then of these other statements, and I still want to hear about the hearsay exception that would apply, but the probative value of those statements, if any, is to Mr. Lewis's understanding of what it is that he is walking into from the state's perspective.
Right.
But of course, the jury will know that Mr. Lewis knew exactly what he had walked into, because there will be significant evidence that he is there. So rather than someone speculating about what it is going to be and how many people are going to be there and what is going to happen when they're there, isn't the state in this case trying to prove its case based on who was there and what they did at the actual time at the actual site?
Well, that's a part, but strong evidence of the mental state. I mean, right? Like, surveillance video from inside the bank at the time of the bank robbery isn't the only evidence if, you know, the planning of the bank robbery is recorded. And this is very similar.
Well, it's similar and it's
to the
not.
mental state. The mental state.
Mr. Lewis could not have been reckless as required for the riot statute during the time of this video, right? It's only about whether this video informs as to what his mental state was when he gets there.
Right. What is the risk going to be?
And so what is that evidence? That evidence is what other people are saying of what they expect might happen, some of which turns out to happen, some of which doesn't, right? They don't go across the street. They go onto the same side of the street.
Right.
Mr. Gibson is there with whoever Mr. Gibson is there with, but it may or may not be the people, right? It's a bunch of people speculating about what might happen in the future and about what they personally might want to see happen, or might be rooting to see happen.
I think that's a very generous characterization of what's happening here. I mean, it's clearly a group of people sizing up their opposition, discussing the relative tactical advantages that they have before going over there. Right? I mean,
are any of those people Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
You mean what are the statements attributed to Mr. Lewis in the video? This is another. This is a separate problem. I don't know what Mr. Lewis is saying in the video or what he's not.
Right?
Saying.
No.
Okay.
I'm saying.
So this is evidence that Mr. Lewis is standing around,
and the people that he is standing shoulder to shoulder with, right next to him, are making these.
Is that true for all of those statements? Mr. Lewis is off camera for most of that video. Can we discern which statements he would have been in earshot with and which he wasn't?
I think you absolutely can make that inference.
Was he able to hear every statement on that video?
I can't guarantee that every statement, but I think when
so the state wants to introduce at least some statements by some other people that we cannot be certain Mr. Lewis was in earshot for.
In my view, when the camera is filming a group of people, it's otherwise quiet. One person is saying something in a normal speaking voice, and then the camera turns and Mr. Lewis is right there. Absolutely, you can make an inference that he hears that statement and disregards it, of course.
What's the hearsay exception that applies?
There is no hearsay in the video. None of it is offered for the truth of the matter, it asserts.
How can that be so?
Because it is only offered to show that Mr. Lewis would have been aware of the risk that is being discussed in the.
But that risk turns on the objective. Mr. Doyle, you'll suspend. That risk turns on whether or not those facts are true. Right? If what he's being told is completely false, turns out there's nobody there. Right? Those statements might establish that he would have accepted a risk that turned out to be fallacious. But in order for that to be probative of whether or not he was ignoring a risk, I said accepted a risk. I meant disregarding a risk. That turns on whether or not those statements are true, doesn't it?
I don't think it does at all. I think a simple, like totally different hypothetical, comparison would be this. Somebody hits a patch of ice and runs over a child, and they're charged with reckless driving, and there's evidence that before they drove down that road, somebody said to them, "Hey, I think the road is slippery over there." That person, that's not being offered for the truth. It would be offered for the fact that that person was warned that the road was slippery, and to say that, well, we don't know if that was true, it didn't matter till they got to the road, That's not the case at all.
But then isn't the much stronger evidence of whether or not there was a risk disregarded when he comes upon the scene and chooses to engage in whatever conduct he engages in? And doesn't that avoid all of these stray comments that we're going to get to the other defendants, but that implicate the other defendants?
I don't think the other defendant comments are a problem. As I said, I think the video mutes for a second when they say, "When's Joey coming? When's Joey coming?" No problem. I don't think there's any mention to defendant Schultz. And subject to those, it's relevant and admissible. And
the riot statute.
Right. There's two steps, right? One has to know the risk and then disregard.
Sure, but the risk is tied to one's own tumultuous and violent conduct. It is not a generalized risk that maybe there is going to be a chaotic scene, or that there's going to be chaos or violence, or that other people are hoping for violence, or that other people are intending to engage in violence, right? The question is whether the person charged with riot in engaging in tumultuous and violent conduct intentionally or recklessly created that grave risk of causing public alarm, right?
Right. So
what is it about knowing ahead of time that these other people are making these other statements that informs the question of whether at the time Mr. Lewis engaged in what the state will describe to be tumultuous and violent conduct, whether in that moment Mr. Lewis was intending or recklessly creating a grave risk of public alarm?
Well, I think one important piece of evidence on that point is at the time that these statements are being made, and I think you can easily make the inference that Mr. Lewis is hearing them, he's taking off his baseball cap and putting on a military-style helmet. He's putting on plastic knuckle gloves on his hands.
And we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
Right now we're talking about statements of others. What about those statements of others? I understand the state's point, which is it is predictive of what may be about to happen. Mr. Lewis is hearing things about what might happen, and it turns out many of those things happen. I really do take that point, and I'm not trying to be dismissive of that. I understand the weight of that. What I'm missing is how that connects to what the jury's job is, which is to determine whether Mr. Lewis engaged in tumultuous and violent conduct, and B, if he did, whether he did so intentionally or recklessly.
Well, I think it also relates to the additional,
as opposed to what other people are doing.
But an element of the crime of riot is to engage in that violence and tumultuous conduct with other people, right?
So their intent to engage, they're saying that there may be violent and tumultuous conduct is probative on whether or not, if the state proves that Mr. Lewis engaged in such conduct, and if the state proves that he did so intentionally or recklessly creating grave risk of public alarm, that it's probative on whether or not he did so with 5 other people.
In addition to the awareness of the risk that he disregarded in engaging in the conduct. That's right.
Talk to me about the non-audio portion, which I think the state may think the whole video without sound, audio aside, is also important, but I understand the state is mostly focused on Mr. Lewis's changing.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the independent probative weight of that.
As I said, I think it goes to the mental state of his intent to engage in violence and tumultuous conduct.
That would create a grave that would create a grave risk of causing public.
Right. And it contradicts, the idea that he was going and engaging in only, discourse or something like that.
Okay.
Well, the court is considering. I think that our theory is that Mr. Lewis was trying to film just to stay out as much as possible, and this the images in the video are unnecessarily
I'll ask you to pause for a moment. Mr. Lewis is trying to get your attention.
Your Honor, could I be heard after Mr. Doyle?
You may.
I think what he was just saying is that he was trying to be a journalist as opposed to, trying to keep track of it, with his camera and everything, was trying to stay out. And I think that this film is just unduly prejudicial. The statements that Mr. Lewis made, if we can determine what they were just casual conversation. There was no way that he was going to really, and plus the person taking the video, it stops before things start. And I just think this is a hash and a mess and is unduly prejudicial. And if the court does admit it, then I have to, of course, join in the state's motion, defendant Gibson's motion to sever, because.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Lee.
I did say that journalists wear helmets, goggles, and gloves, and that the gloves that he put into were soft gloves and were not, the state says, hard gloves or whatever, not like one of the Antifa people in one of the other videos has brass knuckles.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Doyle. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You don't even need to name the people.
A point of fact, the gloves in the video are simply motorcycle gloves.
That can be argued to the jury. That doesn't weigh on the
That is a fact question for the jury.
Okay. If I hear this point that the state's making, they want to show that video to show that he put on a helmet before he got there. The later videos all show him wearing that helmet. They also have Justin Allen, who's going to testify and can testify. I walked there with Mr. Lewis, and when we started walking there, he didn't have it on, and then right before we got there, he did put it on. And they could, recognizing that video is nothing more than a series of chronologically displayed photos, they could screenshot, here's a photo of him before with no helmet on, here's a photo of him when he put the helmet on, and make two photo exhibits to make that point without running into all these other issues that we have.
Okay. The question, though, I take your point. The question, though, is whether that other evidence is appropriately admissible or not. Okay. Here's where I am. I understand the points, the state's point about the statements being non-hearsay if there's a limiting instruction and if the jury is informed that they're only coming in to go to Mr. Lewis's state of mind, that is to say whether or not he was aware of that his future tumultuous and violent conduct might intentionally or recklessly create a grave risk of causing public alarm. Were the statements admitted for that purpose? I agree with the state; they would not be hearsay. The problem is that those statements from other people who are not part of this case strike me as being of incredibly low probative value on the question of when Mr. Lewis engaged in the conduct that the state alleges and will attempt to prove was tumultuous and violent, which is at a different time, at a different place, he was intentionally or recklessly creating a grave risk of causing public alarm. The question for the jury is going to be, in the context of that conduct, what was Mr. Lewis's intent? The fact that other people are talking about their intent at an earlier time at a different place. I can get there. I can connect those dots. But I think that probative value is not terribly significant. And on the contrary, I think they carry significant risk of undue prejudice. That the jury will be tempted to decide that Mr. Lewis, in hearing those statements and walking there, that he must have agreed with that. And whether or not he did, again, the question is, what was his intent at the time he actually took the action? So those statements from other people, I think, are of limited probative value, carry a significant risk of undue prejudice, which substantially outweighs that probative value. And so I'm going to grant the motion to exclude the those third-party statements. With respect to the video of Mr. Lewis changing from one outfit to another, that I think is significantly probative, because it goes to what he anticipated, arguably his own conduct was going to be. That's not necessarily so. The jury doesn't have to believe that, but it's probative on that question. And so I will allow the state to play that portion of the video without audio that shows Mr. Lewis changing into the clothes that he will ultimately be seen wearing at Cider Riot.
What, could I ask a clarifying question, Your Honor? And I'm completely clear on the ruling regarding statements, and I think my question centers around the scope of what I can play on mute, basically. Is the court limiting its ruling to the parts where, you know, Mr. Lewis is in the frame? I would argue against that in the way that, or for the reason that I'd like to be able to show, and I think it's highly probative and relevant, as the court was just saying, kind of the timing where it's, you know, you get a glimpse of Lewis, he's wearing this, it cuts away for a minute or two, you come back, he's got one glove on, it cuts away, that kind of thing. I don't want to be constrained to only the frames with Mr. Lewis in them to show the change and the procession.
I hear the suggestion. Mr. Kalbaugh is trying to get your attention, so I'm just going to pause you so you can talk to Mr. Kalbaugh.
Yeah, I guess how restrictive did the court want to be in terms of how much of the video we can play, understanding that it's all going to be muted?
So what is relevant is Mr. Lewis.
Right.
What is relevant? What is admissible is Mr. Lewis changing, sort of from one kit to another.
Yep.
I think the portion of the video that does what Mr. Hughey is suggesting, which is it is not just centered on Mr. Lewis, it goes other places, it comes back. I think for the jury to be able to understand what's going on there, I think that entire sort of sequence can be played muted. I don't think it's prejudicial. We're going to see those people wearing that clothing later. Okay. But it is only from, and I'm hoping these lines are clear enough. If not, I'm willing to see what you cut up, and I will give you a ruling on it. But it is from when we see Mr. Lewis dressed as he is initially, beginning the sequence of Mr. Lewis changing, to when Mr. Lewis is fully in the clothes that he will and equipment that he will be wearing on the scene.
I understand that, and I will circulate our proposed trimming, whatever you want to call it, over the weekend, and
okay,
we'll address it if we need to on Monday. But I think I can comply with what the court.
That will be the ruling, and so Mr. Gibson's motion 6 is granted in part, consistent with that ruling. Mr. Schmancy's ruling, or Mr. Schmancy's motion, which I think was audio only, is granted in its entirety. Mr. Doyle's motion is granted in part. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Your Honor. The ruling, the motion was not limited to Exhibit 4. Exhibit 5 picks up where 4 left off, and it has many of the same issues. And so we may benefit from a viewing and.
Okay. Should we?
And I'll add, while Mr. Kalbaugh is getting that ready, we're going to propose an instruction to come from the court that the jury shouldn't draw any inference about modifications or redactions to the video that was written by the court.
I can give a standard instruction, or I can give a different limiting instruction. That's fine.
I have Exhibit 5 queued up.
Is it in fact 51 minutes long?
It is in fact 51 minutes long, but I think the issue that council's concerned with, we don't need to listen to all 51 minutes because a lot of that is the riot aspect, which is also covered from a different angle in Case Exhibit 1.
Okay. How much? I'm just.
Let's see.
16 minutes, Your Honor.
Okay. And is it the first 15 or 16?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this by the same person that videoed the previous?
Should I press play for the first 15 or 16 minutes?
Judge, can we take a quick?
Let's take
break?
5. I was going to suggest the same. Let's come. We'll play it at 11:30.
Okay, we'll go off record and we're gonna go ahead and mute for 11.
all parties are present or outside the presence of play what is marked as State's Exhibit 5 for purposes of resolving defendant's motion opposing some or all of Exhibit 5.
And Mr. Kalbaugh, sorry, would you read the file name into the record just so everyone's on the same page here?
Yeah. State's Exhibit 5 was, the file name was titled YouTube Rewound News 2.
Thank you, and it's a, okay.
And I understand it's 51 minutes, but the objections are contained within the first 15 or 16 minutes, and so that's what we're going to display at this time.
That kid doesn't look like really. He's hanging out with them. Oh, really? Yeah. So he's okay. I'm not gonna be here for a minute. No, we're on the floor. I gotta go.
So we're gonna have to.
Oh, that was Eli. He wanted to play 200 quick. Yeah, exactly.
Come over here and say it to us. No, it's so complicated. The car's driving away.
You get up on them like, police! Big dog, police!
We're staying. You're coming to meet us. Right here. Move it.
You'll get on him. And Andy says he's walking toward me, so we're going.
I should get binoculars. Binoculars would be nice. Because I can't really. Oh god, it's so bright. It's so bright. Ah. I could, but like, check it, man. Like,
Yeah.
It's even like zooming into like him there. It's just like it's already fuzzy. So like doing it still like for other stuff.
Yeah, it's not really gonna do much.
Yeah. I want food. That's a strip club too.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good strip club too.
I mean, it's Portland. There's more strip clubs here than anywhere else.
Yeah, some of them are bad though. Some of them are good.
Well, yeah. Look,
Yeah.
Here's the
I'm
thing.
not going again.
Here's the thing. We should be fortunate that we live in a city that has so many strip clubs. A good one and a bad one. Yeah. Because most people, they just have a club.
Yeah.
And it's not good or bad. It merely is.
Yeah. I spent like fucking. I like more diversity.
Or diversity of thought. THOTT.
Yeah, I spent fucking
See, you know what I'm saying?
On the hottest
chair. Diversity of that is, I am very happy with myself right now. Diversity of thought. That is amazing. Oh look, there's bike cops on a pan.
Everybody's getting here. Everybody's catching out. $1 million shot. Here it comes, everybody.
Where is it?
God. And then also they have all the fees each time you pull money. So each time it's like just one more time, pull like $40. And then it has like a $6 fee. Yeah, it goes up. Yeah.
That's a cool light. I like that. You know, from a design standpoint.
This light?
Just those lights. Little like the iron working.
Yeah, it's
just kind of pretty.
Yeah, it's getting kind of funky.
Yeah. I mean.
Oh, that's one of those guys. That's one of those Antifa guys. He doesn't do anything. He just kind of walks around.
Yeah.
He yells a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
They know we're fucking here. We don't have the numbers, you know. And I would rather live to fight another fucking day than get my fucking. You know, I'm not a pussy and I'm not a coward. And we lost Element of Surprise. We lost our. You know, the Proud Boys decided not to come. You know. I just don't see.
There's cops everywhere now. It's just going to be.
Not anymore.
Yeah, they're not really sticking around.
Yeah.
Well, they may also be trying. I mean,
Well, we don't know that for sure, though. Like,
they government employees. They like working class.
I mean, I guess it is like 6.
I don't know. I don't want to leave anybody behind, but my general consensus is I would rather just fucking live another day, hike downtown, whoever's got to go there, and we just fucking call it good. You know, if we walk down Burnside and they decide to come down and fucking attack us, then we got to do what we got to do.
I'm fine with letting them get a little.
Yeah,
as long as they come after us.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't keep us from
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
down still.
I don't.
You know.
That's the one thing that I'm kind of hung up on is us just like walking into the bar and stuff.
Well, yeah, no, that's not how. We never
walk
into a bar.
All we have to do is just cross the street and just walk. That's all we got to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
What are they going to do? Run through traffic?
Right side and the left side. How far is it? And then get right down to the max. It's not that far to the Burnside Bridge. We're almost back to downtown. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
This
what,
city is so
anybody who's
confused.
going downtown, that's what we're gonna do. I don't. There's nothing good that can come of going over there, dude. I mean,
Well,
You want to end up on a fucking
Almost there. What?
yeah. We must get. We could never take a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to go down? Okay,
We're gonna cross one.
Yeah. Go to Union
cross
Jack.
one and over.
I'm following him.
Alright.
I'm following him. Yeah.
You guys, what's up?
You gotta wait for Gibson.
Why?
I don't know. Why do we gotta wait for Gibson?
Gibson fucking Superman. He's not gonna be able to go in there.
Why do we gotta wait for Gibson? Does anybody have one real good reason?
There isn't.
Wrong.
Let's go. The people who are going back downtown are going downtown.
Because we've been saying it's a fool's errand. It's a fool's errand.
Oh, we can put the fear of God into them at least. Even if we're not doing it. Yeah.
Sorry.
They want to come across. I think it's. Yeah, but they probably got 100 around. Come on down, brother. God bless America. Here, come on, just keep coming. Just keep coming. Keep coming, guys. Keep coming.
Besides, since when does Joey throw a punch? You always just sit in the back on Twitter laughing.
Unless he's got a busload of fucking guys.
Exactly. Like.
That's fine. I'm not like you can turn the other cheek, but Jesus didn't say lay down and let him kill you.
Absolutely.
Come on, you guys. Keep fucking moving. Come on. No. Stop.
Let's keep moving.
Just keep going. Come on.
Oh, God damn it.
No, let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Fuck him. Let him go.
No, we should back up there.
I mean,
But why is he fucking going over there?
Leave the guy there. No, they're blocking.
well, well, their stupidity is our morbidity. That's that old thing, leave no man behind. But also discretion is the better form of valor, right? Well. Oh, gosh.
Why are we doing this? Hey, Lay! Come on! No! We're not here for this. Let's go.
We just told them what we thought. We're good.
Let's go.
There's some. We're not
Yeah,
here.
but he's saying, let's
There is some.
Come on, let's just go, guys.
I'm just looking.
We told them out.
Yeah, but
Come on, let's just go, guys. Let's just go. We made our point. They ran away like we knew they would.
Bring his ass over here!
Here, come on.
Well, that seems less than helpful.
Come on, let's go, guys. Let's
Now, dude, if I wanted to be in the Army, I'd have fucking enrolled, okay?
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, you told me everything I needed to go. I'm going. I didn't come here to be the aggressor.
Yeah.
I didn't come here to be the fucking aggressor. I'm done with this shit.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep filming, but it's fun talking with you today, man. Cheers.
Peace, man.
Well, one person's left. Let's see what happens now. This shit.
who's the one person?
I suppose in the classic phrases, it's going down.
That's you,
Oh, it's someone in the dumpster. That's. Gotcha. Ah, that's.
Yep. Go, 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 go.
What's an asp cost anyway?
$30.
$30?
These are useless.
Andy Bex, and you know what?
Oh, that's on the asp?
I asked him not to bring it tonight because I hate it.
Gotcha. I have like a.
I've been hit with these every which way. They do nothing.
Huh.
And then you know what? It gets taken or knocked out
Looks
your hand,
like-
and then you're out
I'm
$30,
telling
right? You know what the
leave me
best
alone.
weapon is?
Yeah.
This brown belt in jiu-jitsu. What else you need?
The elbow.
Yeah, the people's elbow.
Dude, look at my elbow. Look how sharp my fucking elbow is.
No,
Like this.
If you have a weapon, you don't need it, right?
Who cares?
Well, yeah, they're having a drink. Of course, there's lots over there.
Time's up. They ain't doing it. We're walking.
Hey, what's going on?
We're good.
Hey, do not leave us stuck waiting for you two while we are waiting. Come on. The only reason we are waiting, the majority is because of you two. Come on. We're not waiting for a straggler. Come on.
What?
I guess that's the answer.
Yeah, there's numbers over there. Guess what? We're trying to outsmart them. We're not trying to get ambushed.
Yeah. Honestly,
People who are like army and line.
I think if they were inclined to come after us, they'd have sent people this way and
Yeah,
flanked us.
we're not coming to the corner to ambush with the two of you straggling out.
There's only about 10 of them that are going to fight.
Huh.
Organization.
Absolutely. I'm not even sure if this is an organization. I'm not
an organization. We're an organization.
Yeah.
The only thing is, the reason I was standing there waiting there is 4 or 5 guys that were with us went over there into the bar. I don't know what they're doing.
Aren't those? I think the ones that,
outside.
The ones that like had the cameras like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
they're not really. Maybe they're more on a journalist thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of the stuff here, no one wants to be the first person to throw a punch. It's all about fucking YouTube and shit. So long as they don't do anything, they'll probably be fine. It's just super nervous, and they're just idiots looking for clicks. Some people are in it for the mission, and some people want to be famous on YouTube.
I like both.
Well, sure, absolutely. Everyone wants to rule the world, right?
Yeah. But doesn't want the responsibility.
Oh yeah, that's the joke, right? Everyone wants to rule the world. No one wants to administer it.
Yeah, everybody wants to be a believer, but doesn't want the responsibility.
Yeah. They want the title, not the job.
Shit. Shit, dude. There's a lot of them, brother. Yeah. Oh, it's not as many as I thought. That's one side. No, there's one side. Oh. There's more.
I mean, that's still more than us. Although we do have these cudgels.
Not all of them are gonna fight.
Yeah, and we've got shit like this. So.
You got mace and sticks.
Mace and sticks.
I'm not walking over there.
Oh yeah, no, that.
I'm going.
Well, he's putting his gloves on, so you know what that means.
Wait, where is Steve going? What's Steve doing?
Steve is ready to. I got you guys, okay?
I know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that doesn't. The Lord. Yeah. There's no way. That's
true, although you are a ginger. I was talking
I'm half. I'm a day walker. Ginger beard, blonde hair, that classic Viking vibe.
I've never saw scare me.
Hey, Alyssa. Hey. How are you today?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, you know, same shit, different day, right?
I get that.
I miss you. Never come today.
Oh, hey, Ellie, by the way, you guys.
There you are.
They're awesome.
Here's my opinion. Oh, and the fighter. Hey, did your girlfriend? That's all that. I'm gonna kill. First of all, the long range was
Here.
number 2. I don't believe that. Do you think? What do you think? Do you think how big the show? There's only one way to find out how much we're gonna get. We already know we're here. They were thicker. They were thicker.
Yeah. And ice.
I mean, isn't there an inside to the bar? How can we tell how many people are here? Okay, but there's an inside, right? How do we know how many people are here? This seems unwise, and that
very unwise.
I mean, is it just the veterans that don't want to do this? Oh God.
You're gonna be famous. Uh-oh, look at the party!
I mean, I'm gonna let everyone else walk in front of me because I have the camera. God.
Are the parties happy if I stop it right about here?
Yep.
Okay.
So for the record, that's 1919 on State's Exhibit 5.
Thank you. And the state would intend to admit everything that we've watched up to now.
We would, Your Honor, and a lot of the same arguments as the other portion.
Okay, just so I understand the scope. Are all defendants objecting to all 19 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do argument after.
1917.
Yes, Judge.
And for the record, if Your Honor missed it, it's right around on this particular video, and for the record, it's right around the 1645 mark that you see Mr. Gibson appear in one of the frames, and around 1750 you see Mr. Schultz. That helps for later when we're looking at it.
Thank you. All right, we'll go off the record.
Okay, and we'll go off the record and we will now mute the WebEx.